201-637-9198.
This is the step in Great Meadows, New Jersey. Similar to Oxford, but here's a difference. I've just dialed 1, and we're not getting a vacant level recording. I've probably actually gone into the toll trunk that home phones use. That's a ground test, which occurs when you dial the first digit of the number you're calling. That's used for party lines. The ANI system needs to know which of the two parties is making the call, and that's where it finds out. That was toll restriction, just as we encountered in independent companies all through Virginia and North Carolina. What I dialed there was 1 plus 311. I'm not sure where that was going in Belvedere, but here they want you to dial 0 or 0 plus from coin phones. Let's try 0 plus 411. You know, in Belvedere, I tried 411, didn't let it ring many times, but just now I let it ring 5 times and got no answer. There might be something you noticed besides the yapping dog, and that was here. That is obviously the triple tone. Oh no, I need to play that back and crank the volume. Hang on. That is obviously the triple tone. There's a yapping dog on the tape. I'm trying to call attention not to that, but to the triple tone. Right, and just as I mention it, a dog here in real time goes, whoa, whoa, whoa. Anyway, the triple tone, no, not that, no, that, has to be heard on some operator answer somewhere. You know, it turns out that in Charlottesville, Virginia, a little over a year earlier, I heard a double tone on their TSD. Charlottesville's TSD was actually the first one I ever got to know, with its famous recording.
This is a DDD equipment recording at Charlotte.
Okay, it's not famous because I didn't record it when I had the chance, but on every trip from the commune down to Charlottesville between 1972 and 76, I did hear.
This is a DDD equipment recording at...
Which of course got replaced with...
This is a DDD equipment recording in Charlottesville, Virginia.
Anyway, at a certain point in 1975, while I was getting a ringtone from their TSD, I heard this. There it was, a double tone in Charlottesville, a triple tone in Belvedere, and yet from coin phones I've never actually heard that tone. Maybe that tone plays in the operator's ear when she answers, and the caller doesn't hear it at all. We'll go back to the 0 stuff later on, but now here are some local calls. Here's a regular busy signal by dialing my own number. Here is an intra-office supervision test. Okay, that was our local supervision test in Great Meadows. Here's the Oxford supervision test. The trunks to Oxford, whose code is 453, are wire trunks. Here's the Oxford recording, the redone version, through the same wire trunks.
I'm sorry, the number you have reached is changed or not in service at this time. If you need assistance, please hang up and dial your operator. This is a recording 1-2. I'm sorry, the number you have reached is changed.
Hope 459 was the NX1 that was kind of interesting to call from Belvedere. I made only one call to it here, and because the completion to the recording occurred unexpectedly early, that is, before I had dialed all the digits, I actually dialed over whatever distinctive sounds there are. So this ain't much, but here it is.
I'm sorry, the number you have reached is changed or not in service at this time. If you need assistance, please hang up and dial your operator. This is a recording 1-8. I'm sorry.
I did find the callback circuit in Great Meadows, and it actually has something distinctive that none of the callback circuits down south had. Here's a call to the local vacant level recording via the callback circuit. In this call, I get into the callback circuit on the second digit I dial, then I dial a number of absorbed digits, followed by eventually something that goes to the vacant level. I'll let the recording play, and then I'll dial some more digits to fill out the callback circuit to its required 7 digits. As I'm doing that, of course I'm going to reset the vacant level trunk so that it goes back to ringtone. Notice the reorder tone that the callback circuit here superimposes on everything.
I'm sorry, the number you have reached is changed or not in service at this time. If you need assistance, please hang up and dial your operator. This is a recording 1-6. I'm sorry, the number you have reached is changed or not in service at this time. If you need assistance, please hang up and dial your operator. This is a recording 1-6. I'm sorry. Sorry, the number you have reached is changed or not in service at this time. If you need assistance, please hang up and dial your operator. This is a recording 1-6. I'm sorry, the number you have reached is changed or not in service at this time. If you need assistance, please hang up and dial your operator. This is a recording 1-6. I'm sorry.
How do you like that reorder tone? Now this is kind of interesting. In the 70s, Ben and I used to look at old books about telephony, and they would always list 3 different kinds of busy signals. The regular busy signal was 60 interruptions per minute, right? But there were 2 reorder tones. One was 120, and the other was 30 interruptions per minute.
If you need assistance, please hang up and dial your operator. This is a recording.
The one you just heard. In practice, however, there were only 3 places in the entire North American network where the 30 IPM reorder tone was used. Maybe there's a 4th that I've forgotten about, but I don't think so. Place number 1. The Vancouver Mysterious Dial Tones. These mysterious dial tones were found on levels beginning with 2-1 and 3-1 in Vancouver Tandem 1, the step tandem that is famous for the 2-1-1-1 conference and the operator training recording. If you dialed anything invalid on one of these dial tones, you would get a 30 IPM reorder, but I don't think I have a recording of it. Second place, Rhinebeck, New York.
I'm sorry, we're unable to complete your call as dialed. Please check the number and dial again or ask your operator for assistance. This is a recording. 91412.
And the third place, right here, Great Meadows, New Jersey. Here is a local normal reorder called through the callback circuit. I will then dial additional digits so as to superimpose the 30 IPM reorder, and we'll hear the two of them together. I don't recall what the books said vis-a-vis when the 30 IPM reorder versus the 120 IPM reorder should be expected. But whatever they said, it wasn't true because the 30 IPM reorder just wasn't used except in those 3 places. And I've heard a lot of reorder tones. By the way, the Oxford Supervision test makes a signal like that too, but that doesn't count. That's not something customers hear. Customers do hear the tone on the callback circuit. So, now that I'm in New Jersey, I notice operators behave differently. When I tell them I've gotten them by mistake, they don't say something like, okay, thank you, or okay, bye, or anything like that. Instead, they just hang up. Now that happened 2 times in a row. Let's see if we can go for a third.
Operator, I'm sorry I got you by mistake.
I'm just saying. Anyway, watch what happens when I flash on this 0 trunk to the Belvedere TSD. Ah, cool. The trunk flashed when it reset. Let me dial. 212. Directory assistance.
Directory assistance. Directory assistance.
It reset again. Okay, a couple of things. First of all, we're fortunate because this is August 1976, and Belvedere NX1 is one of the last that still allows non-ticketing calling to 555-1212. When we flash on these 0 trunks, it flashes. Why it does that, I don't know. But every time this trunk goes off hook, our local office in Great Meadows puts a class of service tone on. We're allowed to dial the number, and because it's a directory assistance number, it does go through without operator assistance. I should have tried dialing 0 plus something else here. But anyway, after we dial the number, it appears that the Belvedere trunk flashes and we hear an MF key pulse. That sounds like this. That's probably the identifier in this office trying to operate, but it's not wired to because this is a coin phone. And then on top of that, there's the class of service tone again because it went off hook temporarily. The call then goes through, and when directory assistance answers, Belvedere passes the supervision right on to us, which causes our local class of service tone to come on when the distant directory assistance operator answers.
Directory assistance. Directory assistance.
Let's try just dialing outright 0-919-555-1212.
Directory assistance. No.
Notice how my hook flash goes all the way to North Carolina. Why does it flash like that? I don't know why the Belvedere trunk flashes at that point, but clearly it does. You can hear the supervision noise and the class of service tone responding to it here. I'm sorry I hung up at that point. I should have tried dialing a number again to see if the identifier would attempt to send my number the second time, but I didn't. I did try calling 213 directory assistance, and again everything behaves identically, except this time you can't really tell if the network is responding to my switch hook flashes. A lot of these 555-1212s, if you rang forward like that, that is, sent a momentary on hook, it would start ringing the operator again. Anyway, here's the same thing happening with 0-213-555 plus.
Please.
By the way, the trunks from here to the Belvedere TSD that we've just been using are 1972 era T-carrier. I know the sound. It does that a lot. Makes that little... From Oxford, there was local calling to a New Jersey bell point, Washington. From here, there's another one, Hackettstown. Like Washington, it's a Crossbar 5 with Crossbar 5 type ring. In fact, I don't know for sure that it's not a different zone of the same office. I'd have to listen to the noises the office makes. In fact, we can do that. Let's call the supervision test. Fortunately, it's 9972, just like in New York Tel territory. The office code is 852. And again, we have really well-balanced wire trunks. That was the Hackettstown ticking tone. Let's hear that compared to Washington. from our last stop. Hackettstown and Washington. Oh, that's easy. It's not the same Crossbar 5 entity at all. It's got different office noise, and if you didn't even hear that, the off-on ratio of the ticks is 50-50 in Hackettstown, and it's lopsided in Washington. Definitely two different Crossbar 5 entities at the very least, probably different COs. I tried getting a busy signal from Hackettstown, dialing 852-9970, and I got something better. Listen to this. I love it when this happens. You know, it's just fitting that I'm ending this long phone trip listening to something beautiful coming from the Bell system. This trip began with Rising Sun, Maryland, the only independent in Maryland. We then went around Virginia to the Tidewater area and the Harrisonburg area, with our only Bell system point being Fredericksburg. Okay, Shenandoah National Park, too. Then there was the trip home, with our only Bell system stop being Martinsburg, West Virginia, and the Slatington zone of Allentown, where we got some Coin Zone on tape. The rest of it was all independent and on purpose, because when it comes to phone trips, the independents are just fascinating. Everyone is a unique environment. Not true about the Bell system. You get much more repetition. But there are some things about Ma Bell's network, this being one of them. It's just amazing. I'm posting this in April 2016, and there are still some stops on the August 76 phone trip that I intend to narrate, specifically Chambersburg, Pennsylvania's NX1 and the two Stromberg XYs in that area that we recorded. There's also a stop in Rawlinsville, very much like Gap but not as interesting, and Quarryville, a Commonwealth Telephone Company ESC that I probably will not narrate. That's it for this program and this phone trip. It's back to New York.